I've been trying to figure out a new place to film my videos, and this whole time, my room was giving me what I needed. I'm sorry that I ever doubted you. I shared on my Instagram today that I'm coming up on 5 years of working in the digital media industry, and that it's been just such a crazy, beautiful ride. And in an attempt to pay it forward, I asked you guys to ask me some of the questions that you have about working in the digital media industry. I know this is a new space. Some of you might be graduating college soon or about to start college. So yeah, I just wanted to answer some of your questions and see if I could help anyone out there. So let's just dive right in. Okay. The first question I got was, what kind of work do you do, or what kind of work does the industry provide? I do a couple of different things. I obviously have a YouTube channel, which doesn't feel like a job at all, but that's something that I do. I work part-time as a brand manager for a social good campaign, and then I also take on different freelance projects. I do like live social for companies, and really any project that comes my way that I feel like I can do. I'm much more open to taking on more than one thing at a time now that I have a part-time job. I'm just super interested in learning like different parts of this industry and challenging myself. So I do have a really stable part-time job, and then I take on different freelance projects that come my way. Would you call yourself an influencer or someone who works in digital media, aka biz? I wouldn't call myself an influencer. This is actually something that I struggle with because I don't want to title myself. I don't want to box myself in. Like I just said, I do a lot of different things. It's always changing and evolving. I guess the closest thing to that would be brand manager, but I also feel like I provide creative direction in some of the jobs that I do. I definitely do social media management. I definitely do some like social media strategy. So yeah, I don't have a title for myself. The next question I got was, how can I get my foot in the door with absolutely no previous experience? This is a really good question. Before Paul Hewlett, my very first boss and one of my best friends, took a chance on me, the only experience I had working in digital was like managing a couple social media accounts, just like Instagrams for these boutiques that I worked at. I worked at a digital magazine for a short amount of time. The great thing about this industry is that there are so many ways to show that you can do the job or that you are experienced outside of actual jobs. You know, that blog that you're running, your YouTube channel, your Instagram, your Twitter, those things show that you can do the work. So I wouldn't be too discouraged about not having specific work experience if you are like building your portfolio in other ways. Have you dealt with imposter syndrome? How did you cope? Girl, the moment I posted this questionnaire on my Instagram, I was immediately hit with thoughts like, who are you to think that you could give other people advice on working in this industry? Like, what are people going to learn from you? All kinds of nonsense. I deal with that every day. Yes. How do I cope with it? I go to therapy. All jokes aside, I go to therapy. This is something that I battle every single day. I surround myself with really supportive and encouraging people. I exercise to sort of like slow my mind down. But yes, I deal with this every day. Journaling is really, really great so that you can sort of put your thoughts out on paper. Sometimes I just say things out loud so I can hear how ridiculous they sound. But you're not alone if you're dealing with imposter syndrome. I think this industry, because it's like so new and it's always changing, the rules are always changing, it's easy to feel like a fraud sometimes. Like, am I a master of anything? Do I know anything at all? I don't know. But yeah, that's how I cope with those things. I would say the most important thing though is to surround yourself with supportive people. The next question I got was, how do you get people to take you seriously, especially when you're first starting out? This is also something that I deal with every day. I think just being confident and taking yourself seriously, as like basic as that sounds, like no one will take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously. But if you believe in the work that you're doing and what you're saying, other people will too. And if they don't, those aren't the people that you want to be working with. Yeah. believe that you can do what you're trying to do, own it, and people will take you seriously. Do you think it's attainable to have a full-time job and be a social media freelancer? This is a great question. I do think that it's possible, but it depends on how demanding your full-time job is, and it depends on how demanding that freelance client is. We only have so many hours in the day, and you just have to be realistic about that. And so I think finding what works for you in your schedule, being realistic and upfront about what you can do is also really important. Don't overcommit yourself, because then your full-time job is going to suffer. So yes, I think it's possible. It just depends on the freelance job. How to balance financial stability while working freelance. I say the best way to balance all of this is to have multiple streams of income. That's why I take on multiple projects. I love having a part-time job that's stable, but I understand, you know, like in order to have this freedom, I have to make money in other ways. I would much rather have the freedom than stability at certain times. I still feel like I'm in a stable place, but sometimes I don't. But yeah, taking on more than one project helps me feel better. So that would be my advice for you. Coping mechanisms for dealing with uncertainty of being a creative. Ooh, coming in hot with the good questions. Once again, I recently started to go to therapy because I feel unsure and uncertain all the time. And I think this is something that all creatives deal with. I don't know if you would call this a coping mechanism, but I definitely say reminding yourself that it is such a beautiful blessing that you get to wake up and do whatever creative thing it is that you love. Not everybody has that ability. Talking to other creatives, finding your community of people that are experiencing the same feelings and struggles, highs and lows as you, is really helpful. I think being in this space and seeing what everyone is accomplishing so quickly, or what seems to be so quickly, and just seeing everyone's highs can feel really discouraging. Understand that what you're seeing online is just a highlight reel. I always say that, but it's true. And also, like, you started doing the thing that you're doing right now because you love it. Don't lose sight of that. How do you stay real while a lot of people in this industry start losing themselves? Check yourself, but for real. If you find yourself getting lost in the sauce, you need to pull yourself out. The last question is, how do you navigate favoritism / leaders picking people like them to work with? I'm probably not the best person to ask this question because I just don't last long in toxic work environments. I work with such an incredible team right now, but you know, before that I lasted 11 days at a company that just was not healthy. For this question specifically, I personally wouldn't want to work with people or for a company that has those values, like on both sides of it. You know, if you are the favorite, then you're not really getting picked to do a job because you can do it. You are just, you know, the favorite for the moment. And then on the other side, it's like you're fighting to earn a spot in a company that just isn't going to give you a chance. So I would say my advice is to navigate your way out. Because it's just like, you can't win. You can't win. And do you really want to be working for people who have those kind of values or treat people that way? Nah, fam, you don't. Sorry that I couldn't get to everyone's questions. I hope some of this was helpful. The imposter syndrome is already kicking in. I'm like, I'm gonna edit this and none of my advice is gonna be helpful. So hopefully you will see this video. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Stay hydrated, stay cool wherever you are. And as always, thank you for being here.